Welcome back to Hello, It's Better to Talk. Today we're going to be talking about Hello, It's Better to Talk. Why is it better to talk? Because there are so many times when we're kind of tempted not to talk about things. And also we're going to be talking about how to talk. You know, there's kind of safe ways of talking, the things that work in terms of communication. So we've got 5 top tips for making that conversation, maybe that difficult conversation, really work. So stick with us for Hello, It's Better to Talk. Hello, my name's Helen Garlick. For 35 years, I was a family lawyer and mediator, but I kept secret what was happening in my own family of origin. Now I know it's time to talk about it. So I'd like to warmly welcome you to Hello, It's Better to Talk. So Tim and I are going to be chatting today really about why it's better to talk, because I've got my kids teasing me at the moment about every time they see me they go, hello, it's better to talk, especially if I'm thinking that it maybe isn't better to talk about something or other. But, you know, there's the temptations to not talk about things, aren't there? To keep quiet about things, just to have a drink, just to sublimate, just to eat, just not to talk about things at all, and kind of not talk about stuff. But that isn't great, is it?
Well, it isn't if you've got something that needs talking about. And as a couples counsellor, obviously I see all the time people coming to me with problems in their relationships, which are always at least partly to do with communication. So they haven't been able to express to each other what is wrong. They feel something which they prefer not to actually voice. So they keep it inside them. And what happens when you do that is that things don't get talked about. Things gradually, in many cases, get worse. The problem gets amplified, gets kind of also more and more hidden. And then suddenly years go past and the couple realise that they're in crisis. So what this leads me to appreciate is that actually very often couples should have come to counselling quite a bit earlier. For example, I can just think of a couple who I saw quite a while ago who said that they hadn't been talking, but that she had decided that she wanted to move out. So she'd moved out. I asked them, so when do you think these problems started? One of them said about a year ago, and the other one said about 3 years ago. And immediately you're thinking, okay, so they've got very different views about when the problems began, not that they even really recognized the problems anyway. And if one of them had voiced that concern 3 years ago, we could have caught things. Now, as it happens, she already had moved out. It was almost too late.
So it's kind of like when you start thinking that things are going wrong, that's the time to do it, not to wait. You know, does waiting improve anything? Probably the answer is no. Not if you're actually not tackling it. So
waiting is unlikely to help if you don't in any way address the issue. And you keep on pushing it down and not dealing with it.
Absolutely, you know, but some people have that thing about, I didn't really want to trouble the other person with it.
That's exactly right.
And I thought it was better to not talk about it, but actually that doesn't really give them the opportunity, the other person the opportunity to engage with this problem.
Exactly. So often, and actually I've heard this an awful lot during this lockdown in the last year or more, that people say, well, I didn't want to bother him, her with it, because I know that he or she's got enough stresses already. And I didn't want to burden them with my problems. And then you actually turn to the other one and say, would you have liked to have heard what was going on? And they go, well, of course I would. And it's not as if you have a finite amount of space in your heart to deal with problems like that. We have the capacity to deal with all kinds of things if we want to, and if our heart kind of tells us that we want to. And if you're married or in a relationship with somebody living together, and that person is going through something that's painful or difficult or making them anxious or lonely or afraid,
then you want to know about it.
Then if that person could possibly just indicate that they are feeling like this, then you'd want to hear, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would.
You would want to
Yeah,
hear.
you would.
But that's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult to do it. It takes courage, and it takes, you have to screw your courage up to go, okay, I'm going to say something here.
Okay. So let's just then focus on, if you've decided that this is something that you really want to do, that you actually do want to talk about talking, then we've got kind of 5 things that we think between us we've kind of would be really helpful. Mm-hmm. So the first thing, once you've got the permission of somebody to talk about it, so you're telling them, I really want to talk about this, mm-hmm. and you've got their permission. Mm-hmm. The first thing is to talk about I messages. What I mean by that is I feel this. So bring it onto yourself, because it's so easy, especially if actually things have been building up. You start blaming the other person. You didn't do that. You didn't take out the rubbish. You never listened to me. Da, da, da. Mm-hmm. So it's mm-hmm. I messages. I didn't feel heard. I feel as if I'm being ignored at the moment. I feel isolated. I feel lonely. So start talking about the I messages from your own perspective. And that's really key.
We're talking about owning those feelings too, aren't we?
Yeah.
So accept that these are your feelings, that these are things that, it doesn't diminish you in any way to have these feelings. It doesn't mean that there's anything bad about you because you feel afraid or anxious or worried, whatever it may be. But you are prepared to own those feelings and say, yes, this is me, this is the way I'm feeling.
Okay, and so you're a guy saying that, and you're saying guys own up to your feelings as well as women, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, society could do with a lot more men opening up about their feelings.
Mm. Men could do with a lot more opening up about their feelings.
Well, exactly. I kind of mean that in the sense of society.
Yeah. Okay.
Is lacking in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's I messages and own your own feelings. The third one is no sting in the tail. What I mean by that is you're opening up, you're saying something, you're owning your feelings, and then there's a but coming. So it might be something like, I'm feeling really isolated at the moment, but it's all your fault because you didn't do da da da. Yes. So there's a sting in the tail. So avoid the sting in the tail. You need to have the kind of clean messages of this is how it's feeling to me, without wanting to kind of do that dig at the end.
Yeah. That's number 3. Mm-hmm. Then number 4 we thought of was, it's important that you feel when you're talking about your feelings that the other person is really listening. Now, that sounds a bit obvious, but it is very important that the other person is kind of on board with this, that they're going, okay, yeah, I'll listen to you. I want to hear what you want to say.
So it's like you need to get somebody's permission, is it?
Kind of, you said, yeah, you did ask that. You did say that earlier, and in a way, that is the first thing you do. Is it okay if I do this? But you want to know, and the other person, you need to be able to judge that the other person is willing to listen and to not to judge you, to be kind. You're not going to come back with anything with hostile comments and things which are going to make you feel bad. So you need to feel safe,
right,
in being able to express those feelings, knowing that the other person will listen, be kind, and then let you say your piece, and then hopefully respond in a generous-hearted way.
Okay. And then I would also say that the importance is of clear goals. So if the more you can kind of see your future intention, what you want to achieve in your relationship, that all sounds a bit kind of like businessy, but it is important about, is your goal to get closer to the other person, to feel more secure, to feel more open with them, to have a relationship in which you've got give and take. So identify what your goals are. And then also that really helps, I think, in terms of what you're saying, because you're saying then the things that you say kind of get more aligned
and more focused, yeah.
with those goals.
Yeah. Right, should we go back over those 5 again?
Okay.
Go on then.
All right.
So the first one is
I messages.
The second one is owning your feelings.
Yeah. Third one, no sting in the tail.
Yeah. Fourth one is be sure the other person is truly listening.
Yeah. And
the 5th one,
identify your goals.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for listening to us. We look forward to seeing you next week on Wednesday at noon for Hello, It's Better to Talk. Thank you.